tips on how to build rapport. So if we can move to the next slide. Yes. So this is but a few of the many things you can consider when you want to build rapport. You have to listen. So let's look at listening actively in two ways. You can listen. You notice that I didn't say just listen. I said active listening. I can be in a room with you, can be talking to me, and I'll be listening, but I'm not paying attention. So when I say active listening, it means they're paying attention, which will go a long way to let you understand that if there's the need to take notes, make sure that you take notes. Okay, you can practice this with anybody as many times as you want to on how to actively listen to people. They don't necessarily have to be your target audience you're selling to, but you have to make sure that you know the skill of listening actively. You have to find common ground. Okay, you have to look for the interests or the expectations of your clients. Like I said, you won't open an organization and expect that the revenue will just come. You'd have to go and sell, which is finding the problem, creating the solution, and selling the solution to those who need it to make revenue. Authenticity would mean that you have to be genuine and authentic in your interactions. At any point in time, if the client gets to notice that you're not too sure of your delivery, the conversation might not necessarily end there because they have given you their audience, but in their head, whatever you're saying, they won't listen to. Okay? If you're not authentic in your delivery, if you don't appear as someone who knows what they are about or someone who knows what they are coming to sell to you, then, I mean, after the first 3 minutes, I can close my ears and just look at you, watch you talk. When you're done, I give you a nod and tell you that when we are ready, we'll let you know. And that's a polite way of saying that when you walk out of that door, don't come back. So you have to make sure that you are very authentic in your delivery. Because there are so many ways of being able to identify whether or not whoever is in front of you knows what you're doing. Because I have practiced this over a long period of time, in my line of work, if I call you and you're interested in what I am selling to you, I can tell in the first 60 to 80 seconds. And I wasn't born with it. It took years of practice because I would know how to ask the right questions and how to determine whether or not whoever I'm selling to is interested in the product I want to sell. You have to be empathetic and understanding. Always put yourself in the shoes of the client you're selling to. You want to ask yourself that, okay, this information I am providing, this service I am giving out, this product I want to sell, if I was the person at the other end of the line, would this thing make sense to me? Will I be interested to purchase what I am being given? Because if you're not empathetic, then why do you want to sell? Just because you want to make money? Everybody wants to make money. If a client is buying your product, it means that that product is going to aid in their business or help them one way or the other. So if it's going to aid in their business, it means that they'll get to generate more income. So if you come and you think that you can just pour out what you have to sell and leave, we might as well not give you the audience. You first have to analyze what you're coming to sell and make sure that we can both be, there can be a mutual benefit at the end of the day. And when you do these things, they open conversations up, and it helps the client loosen their guard. Because salespeople are known to talk a lot. And most of the times, not all of them make sense. So you have to make sure that you really know what you're about. You're an active listener. You create common grounds to let the customers understand that you know what they're about, you know what they want, and this product will best serve their needs. You have to be authentic in your speech, your delivery. You have to make sure that you're providing the right and necessary information. Because as I said earlier, I am able to tell whether or not you're interested in what I'm selling in the first 60 to 80 seconds. So the fact that I can do that should tell you that whoever you're selling to would also be able to tell whether or not you know what you're about. Then you have to be empathetic and understanding. If you're empathetic and understanding, when objections are raised, you won't frown. In as much as some of their objections are very annoying, the customer needs clarity. That's why they're asking those questions. So do not behave as if the questions they are asking don't make sense. I have been there before where, whilst I was starting my career, I felt that, I'm selling a product. You need it. Buy it. Don't ask me silly questions. Sorry for my language, but that was how I understood what I was doing. It was until I got to a point in time of this journey that I realized that, they don't just want to buy the product and end there. They want to understand the product so that they won't end up regretting their investment. You know how many people have invested and realized that they did bad investments. You don't want to be seen as a bad investment, because once that happens, I keep telling you, you represent your organization. Once that happens, you make the client understand that the organization is not the best communication. You understand that it just doesn't happen naturally. I keep saying that nobody was born with a skill. Okay, it is time and practice. We've moved from the era where we worked hard to the era where we work smart. So you can't go run from one office to the other and think that you are working hard. You have to strategize. And if you have to strategize, you'd have to make sure that excellent communication is part of your strategy. You'd have to know how to communicate well. Because if you don't communicate well, you lose your sale even before you begin it. You can end the deal by closing in the first minutes you start. So at all times, you want to make sure that you know very well how to communicate effectively. It is a skill. It can be learned. It can be learned, because if you don't know how to communicate effectively, then you can't have the audience, you can't have the attention of your audience. It is a skill. So one way to learn effective communication is making sure you practice amongst your peers and family. They are the best people to tell you when you are delivering right or wrong. So you have to make sure that you practice at all times to get that level where it looks seamless. Your projection, your articulation, your speech must always come out seamless. This will take us back to the preparation slide we were talking about. So if you're well prepared, it allows you to communicate effectively and give excellent delivery, which is where you have to make sure you share clear statements on the tangible results a customer gets from using your product or your service. This side is very important because every customer wants to make sure that they are getting value for their money. You don't want to get into a room and make your audience feel like they have wasted time listening to you. If you know that whatever you're going to pitch at the end of the day will not have tangible benefits to the client, like I said, it is always best to reschedule than to go and look unprepared. Because if I'm going to invest my money in a product or a service, I have to make sure that I get the full benefits or services that comes with a product. And this day and age where it's hard to come by, you want to make sure that you invest well. You want to make sure that you put your money where you can get benefits. So at all times, you want to make sure that you give them clear, tangible results on the benefits your product or service would render to them or give them. This is all part of the preparation. If you don't prepare well, then like I said, you may end up giving them information you're supposed to give when closing a deal. You'd have to draw a plan and make sure that you're delivering the right information at the right time. Sometimes when making a sales pitch, there are some informations that if you prepare well, you know that this type of audience I'm meeting might not need this information. You're not in any way supposed to hold on to information, but you're supposed to know when to present the information to the client. Once you present it at the right time, you get their trust, because maybe if the information comes too early at the beginning of your pitch, they might tell you that your product or service is not needed. So if you're going to let them understand what their money would give them, you want to make sure that you're 100% clear on that information you're giving them. Because nobody in this day and age wants to make a bad investment. You don't want to take a girl out and feed her family, then after 4 years, she tells you that she has found somebody else she wants to get married to. So make sure that you let them understand what you're giving them. I hope I'm not stepping on any toes. Good. You also always want to consider the win-win solutions. In as much as the client needs your product or your service, you also need them. So here, I said, win-win is a belief in the third alternative. It's not your way or my way. It's a better way and a higher way. Okay. At the end of the day, you let the client understand that buying into your idea, purchasing your product or your service would bring you benefits, but it would also go a long way to help their organization or company. It would help them do things better, faster, and smarter, because now everybody wants delivery done in the fastest possible way. Okay, if we didn't want it fast, there won't be fast foods. If we all want to delay in life, we would stick to primitive and old ways of doing things. But once you let the customer understand that, okay, what I'm bringing to you will go a long way to help you, and it would help me to understand that, okay, we need each other to make things better. Okay. From here, we go to overcoming objections. As said earlier, I grew on this career pathway. So there are so many times I have been met with objections that I felt that, okay, outrightly, I have been rejected. But bear in mind that objections are not rejections. It means that more information is needed or clarity is needed. If I don't understand the product or service you're giving me, I have to ask more questions to understand what I'm getting myself involved in. If you're selling a product to me, I have to make sure that it's meeting all the cardinal relevant points that it is supposed to meet. So if I am buying a car, I am not buying the car with the mind that it would only get me to my destination. I am looking at fuel consumption, whether it is pocket friendly. I am looking at maybe another level of luxury, because I don't want to buy a rickety car and be seen as driving a bus on the road when I'm supposed to be driving a car I've purchased with my money. So if a client raises objections, it means that they need clarity. Many a times, you realize that the objection would come in just when you're about ending your presentation, where you feel that, okay, now we are going to close the deal. It shouldn't be a difficult task. Where I've reached, everything is understood, everybody is okay with the product or the service, and it's time to sign the deal and close it. But somebody would ask you a question, and it would only mean that they need clarity on the question they have asked. So you have to make sure that you're well prepared, well informed, well composed, so that once there's an objection, you fine-tune your response and provide the right information to let them decide on whether or not the answer you're given is correct to proceed in making the purchase or closing the deal. Any questions up to this stage? Any questions up to this stage? Are we all clear?
We're clear. I'm clear up to this stage.
All right. So once you have overcome the objections, like I said, usually this will come almost at the end of your pitch. Some would come in between, but if you draw the agenda, you're able to tell them that, okay, after 2 or 3 presentations, I'll give room for questions, or maybe if all questions can be written down, then when I'm done with the presentation, you ask. This will go a long way to help you give them all the necessary information. Sometimes you may even realize that there won't be any objections because you have fully given them the information they need. Given the right information at the right time goes a long way in helping you close the deal. Immediately you get to the point of closing the deal, you know it yourself. When you are fully convinced the customer or a client, you can see the smiles on their face. So at times, when you're able to decipher whether or not the nod they are giving you is bringing smiles to your face or their face, you are able to tell at an early stage if the people are interested in the sales pitch. So if you're closing a deal, things you have to look out for is to make sure if you have satisfied their curiosity, if you have answered all their questions. Sometimes the best way in overcoming objections is to make sure that you ask questions. So if you have a target audience, you want to make sure that you have asked them if you have answered all your questions. If there's more and you have to answer them, you're open for it. Once they realize that, okay, this gentleman, this lady is open for more questions, you always have to make sure you give them reason to let their guard down. Because as said earlier, for us, we are known to talk a lot. Salespeople talk a lot and they bore you with a lot of unnecessary information. So once you appear like that, people won't be ready to open up to you. So if you're closing a deal, you're looking out for smiles, you're looking out for thumbs up or nods that are in sync with the presentation you have made.